Hello, hello. Hey guys, what's going on? What's going on? It's Laura, and so I give people a couple of seconds to get on, even though I'm about like almost 10 minutes late. I could not get this stuff to work. Hey, what's up, Don Piper? How's it going? I'm so excited to be doing this live today. I hope that it's not too late in the evening. So yeah. Hello. Yay! I'm so excited that you all are here. I know it's not many people, and that is okay. This is just an opportunity I wanted to take so that you all could ask me whatever you want to ask. Hey, mediation. So we got John Piper, Jake, Raven, and mediation. So I'm really stoked. I know y'all don't know where I'm at because I don't think I mentioned it. Well, I haven't made a video. But that is great. I am traveling with work and I am in Kansas. And so I'm in my hotel room, which is why, the background look like headboard. So I've been here since Monday and I'm leaving in the morning. I'm so ready to go home. Not for any particular reason, but I just love going home, guys. So any of y'all have any questions? I have a few that I've written down because I get a lot of questions from people about being a dispatcher, taking calls and all of that good stuff. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to have you all ask me whatever questions that may be burning inside your hearts. Anything you wanted to know, some things that may have been addressed a little bit in a video or things that you would like more elaboration on, that maybe I talked about just a little bit and, didn't go too deep into. Feel comfortable in asking me anything. That's what this is all about. If you have a question not related to 911, that's okay too. If I can answer it, then I will. If not, then I won't. I would defer. Hey, Ebony, how are you? So does anybody have a question? The first question that I'm going to answer is probably I'm probably will make a video about it, like a story time. I don't know yet. But I get this question a lot, and is, have you ever froze on a call? And I thought that was super funny. And I'm like, no, I never froze, but that's not the truth. I would love to say that, but that is far from the truth. Let me tell y'all about it. No particular day, right? I've frozen a couple of times. And when I say froze, I just kind of mean like, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. And as my brain was thinking and trying to process everything, my fingers wouldn't move. Like I just kind of was like, wait a second. So the first time that happened, I just tell y'all that story. I feel like I'm freezing now just thinking about it. First time it happened, this guy called me and said he was ready to kill himself. He's like, I'm standing here at this intersection and I'm just ready to kill myself. And he kept repeating that because I kept being quiet. He's just like, I'm ready to kill myself. Like, so after I, initially got over the shock of everything, I was able to talk to him, but I absolutely froze because I guess you never are expecting any of those things, any of those types of calls. And that was the first one I took. And I just was like, oh my gosh. I was scared. I literally froze for about like 8 seconds. And then I had to get it back together and help the guy as best I could until, police officers got there. That was scary. So yes, I have froze a couple of times. I'll probably tell a more detailed story. Um, but the times that I've frozen are when it's something like, and again, froze, it's all about how you like understand that. It's not like, I can't do this. But for like 5 to 8 seconds, I literally was like, wow. So yeah. So somebody asked, yo, I'm redeemed asked, are you single? Um, Nothing to do with 911, but I will go ahead and answer that just in case anybody else wants to know, which I don't know why I do, but whatever. No, I am not single. I am dating someone now, and he makes me blush. So, yeah, I'm not single. Not single at all. And I hope he's watching the video. If he is, hey, hey, babe, hey, boo thing. Anyway, all right. Next, Evelyn Ruby asks, how much do you make a year as a dispatcher? Ooh, excellent question. Every agency pays differently. So the the pay range in the Dallas-Fort Worth area starts about, I'll say about $16 an hour to probably about 19 or 20. So that's around maybe 38 to 40. Nah, 19 to 40. I'm probably around 35 to $40,000 to start with. And so most people pay hourly, and you can, get a lot of you can get overtime and stuff like that. But most organizations are hourly, and they usually pay under $20 an hour. So you'll probably be looking anywhere from 35 to about 40,000 a year. Good question though. But I will tell you this, Evelyn. 1 year from me in dispatch, I made, let's say that my base salary was 40,000. That year, I think I ended up making about, that year I ended up making probably like 48. So like I said, overtime, you can kill it in overtime if your agency allows that. All right. Thanks for asking. Ebony R. 12 hours of sitting is a lot. How do you stretch it out? Excellent question. Luckily for me, the agency that I worked at really was big on ergonomics. And so we actually had desks that their rows that rise up and down. So you can stand up or you can sit down. Most agencies have those desks, I believe. That's something that if you, really struggle with sitting down like that, something definitely worth asking maybe when you do your observation. Great question. Let's see. Non-papa. All right. Raven Rodriguez asks, have you ever had a call where someone didn't make it or were in a situation where you really couldn't instruct them or help their situation? Ooh, have I had a call when somebody didn't make it? Yes. Okay, so this one. Okay, so you asked me a few questions. So the person that didn't make it, many a calls about that. But sometimes you are on a call with somebody and you have the caller on the phone, and then you have the victim or the person who is hurt or whatever the case is. Sometimes the caller is having a hard time kind of processing what is going on the scene. So the victim is always, or the person that's hurt is always your priority. But most of the time, you have to really calm down the caller and really talk the caller through what's going on and really try to get them to like really I don't want to say really believe in themselves, but you have to really encourage them and really pump them up, like for real, and help them to be calm. Like, hey, I know this is difficult for you, but if we want to help this person, I need you to, stay calm for me. I know this is hard and I know you're crying, but I can't understand you when you're crying. So I need you in order for us to help them, I need you to just be as calm as you can try to be. And usually people, they grab that strength from within and they get it together. Um, but to the question, I had this guy call once, and he was taking his dad to the hospital. He said his dad was just, being a little different. And as we were on the phone, his dad's condition began to deteriorate, and to the point that they were in a parking lot, and I had him to get out of his vehicle, pull his dad out of the vehicle and onto the concrete floor on the ground, the parking lot, to give him chest compressions, and he didn't live. So that one was kind of tough, just to hear the son, an adult son, talking, trying to really help his dad out. That was kind of rough. And I do have a story time about a time where I couldn't help a person's situation. It was about the time I cried. Definitely check that out. It answers those last two questions in a situation where you couldn't instruct them or help their situation. That's definitely that story. So thanks, Raven, for asking. Yo, I'm redeemed. Congratulations. Thank you. All right. Jake asks, how did you deal with the stress with traumatic calls? Okay, so one thing that I will definitely tell you with being a dispatcher is you have to be able to detach. Um, that was one of the things that I don't know how I did it, but I was able to really detach myself emotionally for the most part from my calls. So when I had really, really traumatic calls, they didn't really affect me in a stressful way. A lot of people see the job of a 911 dispatcher as extremely stressful. I think it definitely is in the moment, but for me personally, the moments only lasted about 5 minutes, typically, unless the call was longer. But your stress will normally come when you're on the call trying to figure out, what is it that I do now? Like, what can I do in this very moment? And then even like in dispatching, your stress comes, like, I know I did NCIC, and when I had an officer who would call on the radio and I would run someone's name and I see that this person has been arrested for murder at some point in their life, and I give that back to my officer, I get stressed out. I get nervous because I'm thinking, is this person in the vehicle going to, try something with this officer? Like, you never know when people have assaults against police officers. When you tell the officers that, sometimes, you get worried because you never know what you might hear on the other end or what might happen. So, dispatch, it can definitely be stressful, but you just have to, I believe in just being in the moment, and whatever is happening in that moment is happening in that moment. And after it's over with, it's done. And you answer the next call. That's it. So I hope that was helpful for you, Jake. Let's see. Don Piper says, San Diego County is hiring trainees, so I'm motivated to jump in. Good for you. It starts at $20.52 an hour while you train for a year. After the year, it goes up to $24 an hour. That's awesome. That's a really good salary. But answer me this, because if you're still here, how is that in San Diego? I know San Diego cost of living is pretty expensive. So $20.52 an hour, is that, sufficient? Because I live in Texas, and I know that the cost of living here is not anything compared to California, and I make more than that. So how does that go? Curious. Let me know down below. Evelyn Ruby. Oh, cool. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. Meditation 2.0. With the oral review, the question if a call comes through and the caller is having a heart attack at the same time an officer comes on the radio stating they need immediate attention, the heart calls first. Okay, so dispatching is all about prioritization, making priority. So if you have a caller that comes through that's having a heart attack, PD and FD are different. So, agency I work for. Now, I never worked at an agency that only had like one dispatcher for like the whole fire, police, and none of that. So, to answer that question, and from that perspective, I don't have. But the agency that I worked at, we had PD and we had FD dispatchers. So, in the event that something happened, you had a call taker taking the call, and on a medical call like that, as soon as the call is entered into the system, as soon as you put that the person is having chest pains, then it'll automatically dispatch. You have a lot of agencies that have automatic dispatch for your fire and EMS. And then for PD is manual. So you do it yourself. Like you go in, you click, I'm gonna send, Adam 3 to, this, da, 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 da. But if you have an officer who is in duress or needs immediate attention, then you send, available units. And you don't even like dispatch units usually to that. You do, but you'll have officers that'll key up on the radio and say, show me en route, show me en route, show me en route. And they just, go lights and sirens. Mm-hmm. It's safe. So thank you for that question. That was a really good question. But again, it's all about prioritization. Learn how to prioritize. Okay. All right. Renee. Hey, girl. It says, I just got my offer today. Congratulations. Hey. Okay. I'll be tripping, girl. All right. I just got my offer today, but congratulations. I'm excited for you. I'm so nervous. As expected. Did you experience burnout? I noticed the agencies in my area have a really high turnover. What do I expect? Okay, I personally did not experience burnout, but it is very easy to happen. I've seen it happening. You have to know yourself. You have to know what you can handle and what you can't handle. Before you even apply to be a 911 dispatcher, you need to be realistic with yourself. Could I handle a call where somebody was, being attacked? Or could I handle a call where, if I'm a parent, someone's child is injured? You first have to be very realistic with yourself. Like, seriously. Second, burnout is very easy. And that's why it's very important for you to not emotionally get like connected or vested because you do burn out. But you also have to learn, okay, there's a certain amount of empathy that one must possess. And there's a time that you just kind of have to really just know that your empathy kind of has to stop, and you can't empathize with a person in such a way that you allow that to consume you, that it consumes your mind, that it consumes, everything about you, because you then will burn out. So things that I did to prevent burning out, I always kept a personal life. I think that when I was a 911 dispatcher is when I became the most social ever. I went out, I hung out with my friends, I definitely did brunches. I did anything and everything I needed to do to occupy my mind, because we all know that in work can consume you if you allow it to. I know I'm not perfect, guys, and I can sit here and say I didn't experience burnout, which I didn't, but there were times that I did think about things after I left work. And so that's why I think it's so important for you to find a hobby, find something else to do. I made a video about that as well. And so once this live is done, I'll link the video to this video to really, look at that. But burnout is really easy, but you just have to, find you something else to do. And turnover is high in 911. Like it can be a very stressful job because you are dealing with so much. You can sometimes take 100 calls a day, and some of those are emergencies, some of those are non-emergencies, and you just never know what it is when you pick up. And so you just have to really mentally know yourself, mentally know what you can handle. If you've taken a call that you feel was too stressful or overwhelming for you, definitely go talk to your supervisor so that you can take 10 minutes or 20 minutes if you need to. Like in 911, they are very, very much okay with that, because if something is wrong with you mentally, you're going to have a hard time with the callers, with the citizens. And we really just want the citizens to you want to make sure that the citizens are good. That's your priority, but you are also your priority. So if something was going on with me and I felt that I couldn't take a call anymore, I would go to my supervisor and say, hey, I can't, not right now. So Renee, I hope that everything goes well. It will. You just have to, try to calm yourself down. You'll have in the classroom training for about 6 weeks, and then at that time, you'll be able to hear a lot of calls. You'll be able to do observations with some of your coworkers. And so those things will help to relax you because you know what to expect. So once you get the job started, it'll be okay. I believe that. So hope that was helpful. Ebony, how do you deal with being away from family during holidays, etc.? Because you are an essential employee. Because you're an essential. Yes, you are an essential staff member. So you do work holidays because, people get sick, whether it's Christmas, whether it's your birthday, my birthday, your kid's birthday. Things happen. And so, yes, the 911 center is open 24/7, and it has to be staffed accordingly. At first, I really struggled. I'm not going to lie. I started working in 911 the month of, I want to say like June or July. So it was summertime when I started working there. And so, I was like, when you're in training, you are considered non-essential. So you are like regular hours, Monday through Friday, 7 to 3 or 8 to 5 or whatever it is. So you get holidays off. But as soon as you start your on the job training, you take the schedule of your trainer. And so my first trainer was off on Friday and Saturday. So I'm like, that was good to me. Hey. I worked the middle shifts. I worked from like 3 to 11. So it was perfect. Friday and Saturday nights, I could go out, have a good time. Woo, woo, woo. But then I got released. Yeah, I got released and I was on my own. So I remember the first holiday that I worked my own schedule was Thanksgiving. Luckily, once I was on my own, my schedule I was off on Thursdays and Fridays. So I got to have Thanksgiving off and the day after Thanksgiving. But then Christmas came and I had to work Christmas. And at first I was like so sad about it. But I realized that one, I got paid holiday pay. So, I got kind of paid double to be there. So it wasn't really that big of a deal. And days like that, things happen because anytime you get family together with alcohol, it's going to be some drama. Trust me. And so when you do those things, sorry, I got distracted. I know that sitting at home, I don't get paid. And at work, I'm getting paid like double what I normally make. So I was getting paid almost $40 an hour, so I didn't really care about working on Christmas. And you don't get as many calls on the holidays. But again, I don't have kids. My dad's passed away, so it's not really that important to me personally. But I had to consider I was getting paid like $40 an hour to be there. So you do the math. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. It didn't really bother me working on weekends at all. I mean, on holidays, unless I just really had something to do, then I have a whole attitude. But you can request off, but you just have to do it first. And again, every agency is different. So I hope that was helpful. Don Piper. How long was your hiring process, background checks, critical tests, etc.? Okay, so from the day I applied for the job to the day I started was about 2 months because I wasn't working at the time. So I was just like, I got all of my stuff done, my references, because you do have to have references. I told them, when you see a call come on your phone that says no caller ID, because that's what it says, no caller ID, answer that, because that's them from the police department and I need this job. So answer the phone. So it took me 2 months. But when I was just applying, like after I got laid off and I was just applying for jobs, like it was one agency that took like 4 months and then another one that took like 3. So again, everybody is different, but I would say no less than 2 months. Like I feel like I did everything like super, super, super fast and it still took 2 months to do. So no less than that. Hope that was helpful. Let's see. So Meditation 2.0 says, which comes first? Okay, so I think you're talking about the officer in need and the person had a heart attack. I thought I answered that. Like I said, the agency that I came from, the fire dispatch, like FD, was automatically dispatched. So if a call taker is taking that call, as soon as they enter it into the computer, the fire department is on the way. Like they got the signal and they're on the way. That doesn't have anything to do with the police dispatcher. As soon as the police dispatcher gets the information that the officers need backup, they will send them immediately. They'll do what's called like an alert tone and send them out immediately. So if you want me to choose who would go first, who would be dispatched first, if that's what you're asking me to do, I can't do that because I don't have that answer. In my mind, what I would do first is dispatch FD. Well, it just really depends on what the situation is. And I know somebody might have a whole attitude that I said that, but it really depends on what the situation is with the police. If it's like a shots fired thing, you're going to send them like immediately first, and then you're going to send somebody to FD. It doesn't take that long to dispatch a police officer out. You can do that in like, it's like maybe like 6 keystrokes, maybe. So you can dispatch the police officer first, then the fire department next, all in under 30 seconds. Maybe under 15 if you type fast enough. So I hope that answers your question. All right. Oh, Raven, you're welcome. All right, so Don Piper, because I asked Don Piper the question about, because he said that they make in San Diego County $20.52 starting off as a trainee. So his response, and I asked, how can you, like, what's the cost of living? Like, is that a good salary? So he said, $20.52 is better than the average job for sure. San Diego, LA cost of living keeps rising like crazy. So a job like this with that pay is for sure is good. Well, for me at least, it's just me, myself, and I. Okay. I can understand that. I can dig it. Yeah, that's how I feel about me. Like some of my friends and people I know, they make a lot more money than me. But the amount of money that I make, I'm very content with. I'm very happy with. It pays my bills and gets me a little change on the weekends. And I have my own and I have my own business. So I'm able to make money from that too. That helps. So thanks for answering that for me. And Meditation 2.0, you're so welcome. All right, Ebony R asks, how did you deal with the politics within the office? Girl. So, okay. I am okay in dispatch. You are going to have this. I think you're going to have this where you have the people who've been there for a long time, and then like the new people, the veterans and the rookies. That's just how it is. And so I ain't gonna lie, the veterans give you hell sometimes. Not really necessarily hell, but you always get, the new dispatchers in, and they're really new and fresh and full of life and zeal, and most of the dispatchers that have been there for a long time are not. Um, so my personality is just like, I'm pretty spunky, pretty outgoing. I smile all the time. I'm pretty high energy, like woo woo, like that. Like I'm the type of person, I'm very much so an encourager. I'm the type that's gonna go around and give people high fives. Just yesterday, we were at like a little painting event, like a painting with a twist kind of thing. I only knew like the table of people who were my teammates from work. But after we finished our painting, I walked around to everybody to look at everybody else's painting and to really encourage them and tell them how nice it looked. Like, you did a good job. So that's who I am. But the people with the drama at work, I don't deal. Clearly, is why I don't work there anymore. You can check out my video why I'm no longer a dispatcher if you're interested in that. But I don't do too many politics. Like I'll say to you what I need to say to you. If you say something to me that I feel is inappropriate or that I need to respond to. So I'll say whatever it is that I need to say. Like when this, when I have had, for example, it was this one lady that I worked with. She is like such a bitch. She got a problem with everybody and everything. But I think what had happened is that her girlfriend broke up with her. Again, that don't have nothing to do with me. So don't bring your personal problems into my life because we already got enough problems going on in here at dispatch as a 911 dispatcher. Like, excuse me, I guess I'm talking too much. But that's all we do all day is deal with people's problems. So do you think, somebody asked me, do I have a boyfriend? That's him. Anyway. All right. So people asked, I don't have time to deal with the drama. And so she said something one day with an attitude, and she was looking at me, but she wasn't talking to me. Well, she was looking at me, but we weren't in a conversation. So I asked her, are you talking to me? And she was like, no, but if I was, I wouldn't have a problem with saying whatever I needed to say to you. The fuck? So I was like, I don't want you to have a problem. And I want you to say whatever it is that you feel you need to say to me. And I said, and you better believe that I ain't scared to say nothing that I need to say to you, like period and point blank. And she just looked at me like, well, that's fine. I said, I know. And that's the thing is like, people gonna try you. So you just, do whatever you do. That's just how I handle things. I think sometimes some people, you just got to check them that one good time. And then they don't bother you no more. Like, I'm never going to be the bitch that you want me to be. Not at work, because I need my coin. So I'm not going to play your game with you, but I will definitely let you know what it is for sure. So anyway, hope that was helpful. I don't deal with it. That's the thing. Ooh, Renee Nicole says, thank you. I have watched all your videos and love them. I will definitely keep my hobbies. Yay. Thank you for being faithful. Kenyatta. Hey, sister. So guys, my sister is watching my channel. So let me tell y'all something. When I started YouTube a long time ago. And I never told my family that I had a channel. Not that I was like super embarrassed by it, but it's just weird to me when people that I know watch my videos. I don't know how to explain that. Like, I don't know how to make it make sense. But when people I know watch videos and they talk to me about them. It's kind of weird. Or when like one of my little nieces, she was like, "Do you remember that time you cried when that you couldn't help the old lady get out of her chair?" And I was like, "So you been watching my YouTube videos?" Hmm. So it's just, I don't know, it's just really sweet. So I'm so happy you're here. I'm not embarrassed no more. And I even told my work people, and I don't tell people at work that I have a YouTube channel. Mm-mm. So meditation says, Amen. You're right about that. Praise him. Jamisha asks, what's the hardest call type? Question mark. Children? Question mark. I find myself very emotional when I hear kid callers in class. Good question. Now, I would prefer, and I don't like to take calls. I didn't mind taking calls from kids, but most of the time, I would prefer to take a call from a child than an adult. I'll tell you why. Um, a lot of adults don't listen, like, period. Children will listen to you. Most of the time, children aren't highly emotional when they're calling 911. Um, so if you ever hear 911 calls, like a lot of them, like the kids are pretty calm. But then you hear the adults like going ape shit in the background. Or when you talk to an adult, they just like bugging. But I didn't mind talking to kids, but sometimes, it's a little hard when they don't know where they live. Like they don't know their address. They're like, my mommy won't wake up. And so you ask them, different questions, and you have to try to get a child to figure out if they're breathing. And for a 4-year-old, they may not know what breathing is really. And so you have to, tell them, like teach them in that moment, like what breathing is and how do you check to see if that person is breathing. Like, have them to put their ear in their face, the side of their face up to the person's ear and mouth. Do you hear anything? Do you feel anything? If they say no, you say, oh, okay. And you have them to look at their chest or their tummy and ask, is it going up and down? And, they say no. And, so you know yes or no, and you know if that person is breathing or not. So you have to ask the child questions like that. They don't know their address. Okay. Well, when your mom or your dad or whoever it is that you live with, when they come in the house, where do they put the mail? And they say, oh, well, it's, da, da, da. Okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go look at the mail. And I want you to read and tell me what it says. If you ever have a, situation like that, definitely have them to look at the mail. That's like a really, really good tip. And some kids don't know like their apartment number. They know what apartments they live in, but not the apartment number. And so that's a really good way. And even if yeah, that's a really good way to kind of get the address from the kid, especially when it doesn't pull in. So, but the hardest call types for me personally um, were people who were in like crisis, especially like people who knew that they like in medical emergencies. So like I never forget this lady called and she said, I'm about to have a seizure. And in my mind, I'm like, I said, you are about to have a seizure? She says, yes, this is my address. And she was going really fast. And then the next thing I know, I could hear her seizing. That was scary. That was rough because I had to stay on the phone with her the whole time, and you can kind of hear stuff like in the background. And she told me before she started seizing that she had moved things out of the way. She had unlocked the door, told me what room she was in. She could feel that seizure coming on, and sure enough, there it was. So that was rough. That was rough. So when people are having medical emergencies and they're calling 911 themselves versus having someone calling for them, it's kind of hard. Let's see. So thanks, Ebony. Ebony got lots of questions. That's good, girl. You ready for this job? I'm ready too. Let's see. What fears did you have when becoming a dispatcher? Um, my biggest fear was that I was going to hear somebody getting shot to death, and that I would not ever be able to get the sounds of those bullets out of my head. Like that's all I thought was going to happen, is that I'm going to hear somebody getting either shot or stabbed to death, which I'm sure is probably what you all think. I'm just going to hear people getting shot and I'm going to hear people getting stabbed. And I ain't gonna lie, you might. You just might. I didn't, but you might. Um, some of my coworkers, they had people to get stabbed, or whatever the case is, or I've heard domestic violence situations. Like I've heard somebody get in their ass beat. Like a woman called 911 and she put the phone down. Like it literally. That's another thing. Like sometimes people are calling 911 and they'll just put the phone down, and you have to listen. Like you can't just hang up. You have to listen to what's going on in the background. And that's what she did. Like she called 911 and put the phone down, and I could hear them arguing, and then I could hear just hear like, oh yeah. Ebony also asked, I applaud your tenacity. Oh, thank you. What would you tell young people that have an interest in your job to do to excel? I would definitely say to not become complacent. That's number one. Um, don't allow fear to consume you. It's okay to be scared, but don't allow that to consume you. Because when fear consumes you is when you tend to make mistakes, and they're mistakes that consciously are mistakes, but because you've allowed that fear to consume you, it's just hard. It's just you nervous, and so I would dare to say to learn who you are, learn what it is that you're good at. It's called self actualization, understanding who you are, understanding what you do, and understanding why you do what you do. So I know that I am a relatively calm person even before being a dispatcher. I knew that I was calm. And even when I applied to the job, I said, oh, I think I can do that. Like 911 calls, like, yeah, I can probably stay calm enough to, handle the situation. Or, if somebody's calling me and say they need, an ambulance or need the police to come over, like I can probably handle that, but I was 30 and I knew who I was. But I also knew that there would be times that would scare the hell out of me. And that was scary. So I would definitely say know yourself. Listen to yourself, like trust yourself, and just do your absolute best. That is what I can say. Like if you're very, very super interested in being a 911 dispatcher and you want to be the best dispatcher you can be, you definitely need to learn yourself, self-actualize what you're good at. Like what is it that you can do and you can do well. And nobody has to tell you you can do that well, because you can. Me personally, it was talking to people. Like I know I can talk to people. I talk too damn much. I know I can talk to people. I know that I can calm people down. I'm like a natural mediator ish sometimes. And I know that my voice tends to be calming. And so when I take those things, but I take the assertiveness that I also know I have. I knew that I could use all of those things in answering 911 calls and dispatching. So, yeah, that's what I tell you, girl. Don Piper sent me a smiley crying face. I guess because the boo texted me. Let's see what he wants. Let's take a little brief break. It's been like 45 minutes, y'all. It's been like 10. Okay. So Nope, I can't share that out loud. Okay, I'll tell you basically what it's about. So he's telling me, he don't kill me. He's telling me about his friend who is dating somebody or talking to somebody on online dating, and the female says to my boyfriend's friends, like, do you want sex? And the friend said, are you offering or something? And then she said, you want sex? I ask about you. If you want sex, you must give to me $4,000. If you want sex, you want sex with me, you must give me money. And he said, $4,000, what? I thought you just wanted to get coffee. She said, if you want sex with me, you must give me money. Anyway, wow. Girls really do that? Women really do that? Like, solicit themselves for like money on Tinder? Give me a break. Anyway. All right. For non-English speaking calls, what do you do? Okay, agency I work for, we had a thing called a language line. So as soon as somebody called in, speaking of, what's that? Habla español? Un momento, no cuelgue. That means, hold on, don't hang up. Hold on, no cuelgue. Un momento, no cuelgue. Like, that's it. If you know Spanish, you cannot answer a noun. You cannot speak the language that you know unless you have passed a test for accuracy. You cannot just start talking Spanish on the phone, even if you know Spanish fluently. If you've not been tested and you've not been certified to take calls in Spanish, you cannot do it. So you call a language line and you get an interpreter on the line, basically. Thanks for asking. Don Piper. All right. He says, is there training for specific scenarios and how to deal with them? Yes, there is, such as domestic abuse, or someone calls in saying there's a burglar in their home at that very moment and how to guide them. Yes, every agency, every problem nature has what is called SOPs, standard operating procedure. And so let's say there's a burglar in the house, like they would call that in progress. There's a burglary in progress. So you can either know the questions like by heart, or you can pull up your SOPs. I always pulled up an SOP. Because I didn't want to like miss any questions, because I never want to have to call back or nothing like that. I like to get all the questions that I can. So you always ask them, like, where they are. You ask like in the house, like how do you know for a fact someone is there? Do you see them or do you just hear them? If you hear them, you need to make sure you're keeping yourself safe and out of danger. You have to, as a dispatcher, you can't give people false hope. You can't tell them to go hide in a closet with a gun. You can't do that. Because if let's say they call the police and the police are en route and you've told this person, go get in the closet and hide with your gun, and somebody comes and opens the closet door and it's a police officer, and them not knowing that, they just think it's the burglar, they just shoot. Now they just, shot your officer because you told them to go hide in the closet with a gun. Now, people used to tell me, when they say, should I get a gun? Should I hide? You say, do whatever you need to do to keep yourself safe and out of danger. So if this person feels like they need to go into a closet and hide, then they go into a closet and hide. But whatever it was that they did, I asked them, do you have a weapon with you? And if they did have a weapon, I would ask them what type of weapon they had. And depending on where the officer was, so let's say the officer was 5 minutes away, I wouldn't tell them to put their gun away. I just would tell them to keep themselves safe and out of danger, just like that. Just keep yourself safe and out of danger. I can't tell you to shoot, but I'm gonna tell you to keep safe. Because I know what I would do if I was in the closet. Somebody's breaking in my house. Oh, anyway. Domestic abuse, yes. Sorry, guys. I really need some water, and I have some. But if I go get, hold on, stand by. I just turn my. Y'all can look at the wall real quick. Oh, I got my water right here. I thought I was gonna have to go to the other side of the hotel. Sorry, I don't have on no pants, so I just don't want y'all to, Anyway, sorry, whatever. All right. So yes, they do give you training how to handle certain situations. Most of the time, domestic calls are delayed, so that means that they've already occurred. You don't really get too many in progress. Well, at least where I work, didn't get too many in progress domestic calls. But if you do get something like that, it's usually somebody picked up the phone and dropped it, or they, started calling 911 and then the person like knocked the phone out of their hand, or they wait till the person leaves the house and then they'll call 911. So, yeah. I hope that was helpful for you. All right. Mariah asked, wait. Mariah asks, do your managers get mad when you show emotion on a call? What kind of emotion are you talking about? Like, you mean like crying or something like that? Like, you ain't no tears in dispatch, man. I know I shed like 2 tears that one day, but I didn't do it no more. So, but sometimes you have to get a little emotional, not necessarily a crying or sad emotion, but sometimes you have to get with people, not get with them, but you have to like, people don't, like I told you, adults don't listen on the phone, and they are like calling 911 95% of the time. So 90%, 80% of the time, you got somebody not listening to you, or they got something else going on, and you have to say like, sir, I need you to listen to me. Like, you're literally at your computer like, I need you to listen to me, sir. And so like you type in and it fools ain't listening to you. You're like, what the hell? So they don't get mad at you. Sometimes they might giggle, like it. Sometimes you can be in an empty center and like really getting no calls, and then you get the call where the person ain't listening, so everybody in the room can hear you like yelling like, sir or ma'am, listen, like get out of that room, like remove yourself, and they ain't listening. People laughing, or they might send you a little message or whatever. But that's just that's just part of the job, and y'all probably be like, wait, what? But I'm gonna tell you, you need some big people there to lighten up the mood sometimes. So no, they don't get sad. Sorry, hold on. Whew. Thank you, God. So no, they don't get mad. It just depends on like what you do. So if you can clarify that for me, then that'd be good. If not, then you don't have to. How fast do you type? Says in meditation 2.0. I probably type about like 60 something words a minute. Last time I think I took a test was like 62. Yeah. All right. Ebony says, I really appreciate that you are sharing this with us. I might do this once I become established. Definitely. Definitely. One of the things, like when I started my YouTube channel, I mean, y'all can look back and see, I didn't do 911. I wasn't even a dispatcher. I never really even thought to do 911 videos, but I just thought maybe somebody, had a question. Somebody asked me, like anytime you tell somebody that you're a 911 dispatcher, it's like questions coming out the wazoo. So I just made that first video of like my life as a 911 dispatcher. And so it got just so many people were interested in it and interested in the things that it, the process of becoming one. I'm like, I can help people. And so that's what I did. So hopefully you can be of encouragement too. Maybe we can collab one day. Remember me, girl, when you famous, remember me. Mariah asks, why is it important for dispatchers to have integrity? Girl. It's important for everyone to have integrity, not just dispatchers. Integrity is doing the right thing, even when nobody is looking. Like, that's so important. Like, you have to have integrity. Integrity is like a foundational value to life. Like, um, yeah. And in the event that you take a call and you end up in court regarding the call, not necessarily the call, but the case. It's just the call is part of the case. And sometimes a dispatcher may have to go into court to testify. They want to make sure that you are a person with integrity, because if you are not, then they can't trust your testimony, even though it's right there on tape recorded. It's just important. Just like an officer, like we want police officers to have integrity, to do the right thing, even when no one is looking. So it's very important to do that. Like, you have to do the right thing. And you have to be a person who, if you don't do the right thing, this is also part of integrity. It's also like stewardship a little bit too. But you have to own it. Like, when you fuck up, like, you have to say, damn, like, I messed up, or I didn't do this right. And whatever consequence it is, like, I have to deal with that. That's just, that's being a that's been a stand-up person for sure. Integrity is key to life, not just being a dispatcher at all. I'm not even a dispatcher no more. And I think integrity is number one. The job I have, that we have guiding principles. Number one, integrity. Number two, stewardship. Number three, responsibility. Number four, principled entrepreneurship. Like, it's just things like that. Like, you have to have. These are things that successful people do. It's just life. Mariah also says, your videos are very helpful and encouraging. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Like, you guys make my day, for real. Not even joking. Like, when I get emails and I see new comments on my videos, like, I'm so stoked, like, and excited, because I don't know. I'm just a girl who likes to talk a lot. And the fact that I can talk about something that will help people is just like beyond me. So who am I to keep the information to myself? I might as well share it with you all. So thank you. Ebony says, not ask. I will be testing in New Jersey on Tuesday. I cannot thank you enough for sharing. I talk too damn much too. Girls, okay. Shoot. That's what we do. That's why you're going to be a great dispatcher. Not because you talk too much, but because you know what to say. It's a difference. It's a difference. The difference between talking too much and knowing what to say. And when you have the right shit to say, don't matter if you talk too much, you're saying the right stuff. So somebody need to hear it. At least that's how I look at it. All right, Toxic XX asks, do they random drug test? Yes. I never was randomly drug tested. So I think they say they do, but I don't really know anybody at the agency that I worked at that was drug tested. So I think they may, but every agency is different. Again, every agency is different. So if you, yeah, every agency is different. I never got randomed. And I don't know anybody in our agency that did. Only if there was a situation that occurred would they do that, at least at that agency, which I can't tell you. So, Toxic wants to know, what were the polygraph questions and were they hard? I think I talked a little bit about this in my video. I'll try to link it down below if I remember, but I did make a playlist for the hiring process. But polygraph questions, did I tell y'all those in the thing? They basically ask you, do you plan on, Okay, all the questions that they ask you, they tell you what they are going to ask you. You fill out this whole long questionnaire, and then based on your questionnaire, the things that you like answer yes to, you talk about that stuff. And then when they're asking you, they ask you like 12 questions, like 8 questions, 4 at a time. So they ask you 4 questions, then he'll ask you like 4 questions, and then he'll ask you 4 more. So just 4 sets, 3 sets of 4 questions. I think they ask you like, have you ever hurt anybody, or do you plan on, hurting someone, like physically harming somebody? Um, do you plan on lying? Do you plan on lying on this test or omitting information to get the job? They ask you, other than what you admitted, have you ever used any drugs? Other than the drugs you've admitted to using, have you ever used those? And that's pretty much it. They ask you those. Then they ask you like just some real random things. Or they ask you if you ever been a prostitute, like if you ever sold yourself for money. I shouldn't have giggled, but yeah, they ask you those, but not like anything like. I mean, they ask you serious questions, obviously, but they. Sorry, because I have to come back. Yeah, so that's what they ask you. So some smart ass Megan says, "Oh, and they ask you, do you scratch your hair with a pen?" Because if they ask me, I'll be like, I sure do, because of my head itching and I can't get to my scalp. This is a weave, and I just can't really get to my scalp. So I gotta get something that I can stick in there so I can scratch my scalp. You know why? Because I cannot be doing this. I hate to see people doing that. So, girl, yes, Megan, if they did ask me, I would be like, guilty as charged. Scratch, scratch, scratch. So, anyway, you crazy girl. Ebony says, okay, I know I watched the movie The Call. Okay, before I even read the rest of that question, that movie is a horrible interpretation of a 911 dispatcher. Horrible. The only thing really in that movie that I found to be very accurate is what the 911 center looks like. You learn in training that if you have a call like that and you get disconnected, you do not call back for that very reason. So yeah, that movie is a mess. Could you summarize? Could you summarize the flaws of that movie versus real life? I can, but not tonight though. I would have to, watch the movie obviously again. So that's on my. Let me put that on my list. But I do want to also compare the movie The Call and the TV show 911 on Fox. I really want to do that because the second season, they've been doing a lot more in the dispatch center. And so I'm really, really, really interested to kind of talk to you all about that. So, yes. The Call. Hopefully soon, but y'all know I told you I'm in school, so it's just been hard. But because I'm out of town right now, I just was like, today I don't want to do homework, but tomorrow I'm going to do like 8 hours of it. So at least I can get the people a video. It's going to be long, and I know people ain't going to watch it beyond tonight, but what else? It say, how hard was the polygraph test? I was told I can't put in my 2-week notice until I pass it. Yeah, you definitely want to pass the polygraph, because if you don't pass it, then you ain't get the job. So that's pink ice, I guess is what they're saying. I mean, like I just said, I gave you some of the questions that they asked. It's just that you just have to be honest. And if you're not being honest, then that's going to be the problem. I know that there's a lot of ways out here to pass a lie detector test while lying. They say, just relax, breathe, focus, try to believe your lie. I don't, whatever helps. I'm sure there are videos on YouTube about that if you're interested. I'm not able to tell you that stuff, so sorry. But I mean, hopefully the tips I just gave you work. I don't know. Don Piper says, thanks, girl. You're welcome. And Renee Nicole says, sir, smiley face, smiley face. Don Piper asked, did you or any of your coworkers suffer from carpal tunnel? I didn't, and I'm not sure of anyone that had that while I was there. Brianna asked, call taking advice in general. So broad. Follow your SOPs. That is like going to be advice number one. Follow your SOPs. If you follow your SOPs, your standard operating procedure for each different call type, then you will make sure you ask all of the questions that need to be answered. You will definitely do that. Also learn how to control your caller. You're going to have callers that are going to want to talk over you. You're going to have callers that are going to want to tell you about what happened 5 weeks ago. You don't need to know that. You only need to know what's going on right now. They're going to tell you about how homeboy pissed them off 5 weeks ago, and then you saw him 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, he didn't say nothing, but today y'all at the grocery store, and then dude ran up on you, and then you had to swing on him. See, you really didn't need to know about what happened 5 weeks ago because that's not pertinent to the situation right now. So you just really have to learn to control the caller. So I would say if you have not ever worked in a call center or somewhere where you have to kind of de-escalate people or to calm people down, I suggest you do that because it's going to be quite helpful for you in learning how to deal with many personalities all day. Hope that was helpful. Megan, that's the pencil, the question with the scratching your head with the pencil. Ebony says, oh girl, thank you. Put it on the list. I did, girl. I got you. Toxic said, I honestly appreciate you doing these videos so much. I'm 18 and I'm about to apply. Go ahead then, Toxic. Go ahead and apply. If there's something that you really want to do, go ahead and do it. Just be ready. It's a good job, but it's definitely different, but it's definitely fun. At least for me. Maybe I'm kind of weird, but I enjoyed it. If you are a person who has no reaction with the polygraph, will you automatically fail the dispatcher's polygraph? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by no reaction. Like it might come back inconclusive. And if a test come back inconclusive, I think they leave it up to the agency to decide if they want to hire that person or not. But I don't know. I never had an inconclusive test. Miss, oh no, that's this. Yeah, I can't read. All right. Mr. Rosino, did they have a good training program? Whoa. Did they have a good training program during the job, or did you have to find sources on your own beforehand and prepare? Oh, no, they definitely train you. They would be liable legally if they did not, if something happened. So yes, they definitely train you, but life experience is excellent to have because that's when you learn really a lot how to deal with people, and you learn a lot how to deal with different personalities. And I would say that when I was 18, I wasn't mature enough to be a 911 dispatcher. I wouldn't have been successful at all. And I probably wouldn't have even made it through training. I'm just being honest. So yeah, they train you, but you also use your life experience, just shit you know. Dawn Piper says, so honesty is the best policy. If I'm asked, have you done drugs? I answer, well, first define drugs. A fool. Okay, so so your questions are yes or no. So you wouldn't say define drugs. You would answer yes or no. Secondly, you fill out a personal history statement before you even take the polygraph. And there they ask you, like, what drugs, if you've ever used drugs, which ones have you done? Excuse me, it's not you, it's me, I promise. They ask you if you've ever done drugs. And then once you take your test, no, once you go in for the test, before you actually do it, before you get hooked up and all of that stuff, the polygraph administer will say, um, sorry, sorry guys, ADHD kills me sometimes. He will ask you, you will go over the questions. So it'll ask you if you use drugs, and it'll ask you the last time you used drugs, and then he'll ask you again those same things. And so when you take the polygraph, he's going to say, now, other than what you've admitted already, have you done any drugs? Now, the agencies on that list, the personal background, personal history statement, you actually are going to put when you first used that drug, you're going to put when you last used that drug. And so some of the agencies will disqualify you if you have ever used certain drugs, like let's say like PCP, stuff like that. Like that's an automatic disqualifier. If you put that you use PCP, you're going to get an email from them saying that they ain't going to hire you because you use that drug. Marijuana is probably the one that people have the most questions about. Marijuana will not disqualify you necessarily. But if you put, like it'll say, most agencies use it about 5 years. About 5 years, like, to be disqualified. So if you use it 5 years or less, then you could be disqualified if you can't pass your polygraph test. So hope that was helpful. Okay, Marla, would you ever be a 911 dispatcher again? Love hearing your stories, by the way. Hey, thank you. And yes and no. I just had just recently applied to be a 911 dispatcher after I got laid off. And I also applied for jobs in the nonprofit sector, which is what I do as well, is what I did before dispatching. And so I would if I needed to be, I guess you could say that. Like, it's definitely a job that I don't mind doing it at all, but I prefer to do what I'm doing now because my schedule is a lot more flexible and I get to have a lot more opportunities to do things with my family and friends. I get to, so I enjoy that because once I got my permanent schedule, like my off days were like Monday and Tuesday. So I ain't had no social life. So now I do. So I like it. But I also enjoy 911. But I do have lots of other stories. I just haven't like recorded them yet. Like I told y'all, I work full time, I go to school full time, and I own my own business. So yeah, I gotta find balance. Like I have to. And as much as I would love to much as I would love to dispatch again, it just doesn't work for my schedule. Mm-mm. So anyway, thanks for asking. Ebony says, I love overnight hours and I'm a night owl. What hours did you work and how did you adjust? Okay, so when I first started, I worked from 7 to 3. Once I was released as a call taker, I worked from 3 to 11. Like no, when I did my on the job training, I worked from 3 to 11. Then once I was released as a call taker, I worked from 3 to 11. And then when I went training on NCIC, I went back to 7 to 3. And then I went back to 3 to 11. And then I went back to 7 to 3. Like, yeah, that really happened. So until you finish like all your training, your schedule is not going to be the same. It's not going to be consistent. You can ask for overnight because they do ask you like what your preference is. So if you choose it to work like the third shift, then they try to accommodate, but they don't always have the availability. So yeah, hope that was helpful. Toxic. After these last few last ones I got on here, I have one last question from Wade Copeland. Then I'm gonna can I turn the chat off? I don't know how to do that. Y'all, it took me so long to even get this live going. You don't even understand. Whew. Anyway, so after Wade's comment, I'm gonna stop because it's been like over an hour, and y'all, I gotta get a flight in the morning at 8 o'clock, so I gotta get my ass up. All right. So Toxic said, "Do you really work 10 to 12-hour shifts? And if you do you get any breaks and how many days off?" All right. So the agency that I work for, we work 8-hour shifts, 8 hours a day. We work 5 days on and 2 days off. So got an hour break, but sometimes you don't get breaks. Like if it's an emergent, like if it's like weather, like if it's something major going on and getting a lot of calls, they're gonna suspend breaks for a moment, and then you have to wait to take your break. It's like as soon as you get to work, as soon as you get to work, at our agency, other people, like we did the break schedule. So for instance, when I got to work, if it was my Friday, when I got to work, I would send out a message to everybody that was at work that day. Send me your breaks. What break do you want? They would tell me what break they want. So the first person, you kind of do it like by whose day of the week it is, like who's closest to Friday. So since it was my Friday, I get first choice at break, and I'm always going to choose to have last break so I can leave an hour early. And then, you kind of just give everybody a break. And then again, there's like, I work 3 to 11. So from like 5 to 7, nobody could take a break because that's like the busiest time of the day. Nobody could take a break at that time. But if you need to get up and go to the restroom, get up to take a stretch or something like that, you can always get up as long as there are enough people on the phones. Like if there's a certain number of people who need to be on the phone at all times. So as long as your numbers are met, you can get up. No problem at all. So thank you for asking. Marla asked, what's the salary of a 911 dispatcher? Salary usually ranges between $35,000 a year and probably about $40,000 a year, 42, depending on where you're at. But it's gonna be between 35 and 42. Pink Ice says, "Thank you for your reply. I'm going from nursing to law enforcement." Ooh, now that is very interesting. How hard do you think that transition will be? I'm looking at the pros and the cons. Well, one thing that I don't know for sure, that I can kind of guess is that as a nurse, you are hands-on. You are able to be right there in the thick of it, in the cut. You're able to put your hands on the body, give chest compressions. You can immediately assess the situation and know what's going on. And in 911, you cannot do that. You are far removed from the situation, and you only know what's being told to you. You can't put hands on chest. You can't do things like that. So, yeah, I think that would be a little challenging, but I think a pro would be that you are able to kind of pick up on things a little bit quicker maybe than some other people would, like someone with slurred speech. As you are a dispatcher, you kind of learn those things, but you might say slurred speech and you automatically kind of know to, do the signs for stroke or to go through the stroke protocol with the person, just to make sure that they're not having a stroke, and things like that. So it's definitely pros and cons. If you can, in your mind, if you think you can separate or remove yourself or be okay not being in the thick of it, then I think you'll be okay. But most people who have jobs like that, like service industry jobs, or, where they are serving or helping somebody, it's hard for them to not do that, like in the same capacity. but it might be easy. I don't know. So let me know how that goes. I'm interested now. Karina. All right, Karina asks, says interview questions during panel interview. I have a video on that already. I'm not really trying to defer you all to my video, but because in this video I've answered this question and I made a video on it already, um, I don't think I really want to like go through that again, but I will say they ask a lot of basic interview questions just about who you are as a person, how you work with others, how you handle stress. Additionally, they ask you questions about, they don't really ask you like how you would handle a certain type of call or a certain type of thing. They may ask you like one or two questions about that, but that's not something that they really ask a lot because they don't expect you to have the answer to that. Now, yeah, they don't expect you to have an answer to that. Now, when I did my interview for my last interview, they asked if your whole dispatch system, everything shut down, the power went out, um, how would you let your officers know? Um, he was just trying to give me all of these things like, what would you do? This isn't working. That isn't working. This isn't working. That isn't working. Like worst case scenario. I'm like, call 911 because at that time, that was for an agency that was not a city agency. It was in like a transit police. And so if I dial 911, I would get the city of Dallas, I would get their 911 dispatch and I could let them know that we were offline. So they might ask you something like that, but not if you have somebody like bleeding out, what are you going to do? They're not going to ask you that. But anyway, like I said, I do have a video on that. Look in my playlist, my 911 hiring process playlist, and look at the panel interview and polygraph video, and it will answer your question because I did give questions on there. All right, Toxic asks, I heard there's a psychological exam. Is it a questionnaire or an interview? It is both. You have a questionnaire with lots and lots and lots and lots of questions. I also made a video about this. There are a lot of questions on the questionnaire. I think I had 5 different little booklets with questions. Some had like 500 questions, some had like 2, some had 60, some had 150. It just depends on what's going on. And then I also had to meet with a psychiatrist as well. And like I said, the questions, all of that stuff is in that other video that I did about 911 hiring process, psychological. So definitely check that out because I do go into detail on that video with things I can't really remember right now. And how personal does that get? Not really personal. Things like that, that you kind of lead the conversation. Like they started, but you tell them if it's something that you don't want to talk about, then don't talk about it. And those things nothing came up in mind. So like, let's say, I don't know, let's say that you were like physically abused, like, your parents used to beat you or somebody used to, physically abuse you, like punch you, throw you down the stairs and shit. And somebody calls in and they are abused in that way. That might be a trigger for you. And that might be hard for you to deal with. And again, you don't know when that's going to happen. It just happens. So in your interview, like, they might want to know something like that if they ask, because they did ask me, like, is there anything, like, have you ever had any major traumatic events in your life? I said no. And then she asked the next question. Hope that answered your question. All right. And then Wade says, any tips for Dispatch Academy? I start Monday. It's a 3-week academy in Wichita County. Ooh, congratulations. Oh, I remember you, Wade. Wade was the one who was like, well, I feel like I need to tell you since I did ask for your advice. I did ask you a question. I should tell you that I got the job. So yeah, I remember you, Wade. Training. Definitely absorb as much as you can. Take it all in. And I also I made a video like what you need to know, like going in day one. Definitely study geography, learn what the boundaries are for Wichita County. Are you talking about Wichita? No, because Wichita, Kansas is in Seguin County. So never mind, because that's where I'm at now. Where is Wichita? What state is that in? If you can write, if you still on here, if you can write that, let me know. Um, but I made a video on, what you need to know going in day one. I would say the one thing I would just really encourage you to do is to study your geography, know the cities, know the areas. And because you can't get like your protocols and all of that stuff yet. You won't get that till you start the job. So definitely learn the area, learn the roads. Like if you have in Texas about 2 hours northwest of DFW, northwest. Oh, like Wichita Falls, like that area. Oh, okay. So learn highways, learn like the different names that the highways have. So if like Dallas, like Highway 67, 67 goes north and south, but 67 is also not 67. Let's use 635 because I can't remember 67, whatever. 635, it goes, it's the Dallas Loop. Okay. 635 goes like east and west. So you would need to know like what's the other name for 635? 635 is LBJ. Because sometimes people might be driving by, they're not from Dallas, and they may see a sign that says, LBJ Freeway, and they don't know that it's called 635, and they'll say, I'm on LBJ and I'm going towards I'm just coming from Garland and I'm on 635 and I'm going towards Mesquite, so that way they know what direction they're going. They don't know what direction they're going, but you know that they're on Lyndon B. Johnson and you know that's 635. So you know that they're going east on 635. So, or south, just depending on where you are on the highway right there. So I hope that is helpful. All right, Laquita, you didn't hear that I said I wouldn't answer no more questions, but I'm gonna answer your question because you from my city. So it says, do you know what hours of time frame the academy usually is? By academy, do you mean like training? Generally, training is done like the first shift, like regular office hours, like 8 to 5, while you're doing classroom training. Generally, if not, then I don't know. But usually, it's just like regular business hours, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, while you're doing like classroom training. Then after that, you usually take on the shift of your trainer. So yeah. That was a lot, guys. But I'm so excited that I was able to help you. Like, this is exactly what I wanted. Like, people to ask me lots and lots and lots and lots of questions, and you guys did. So thank you all so much for watching. I am going to get ready to go to bed, go take a shower, and then finish packing my suitcase so I can go home tomorrow. So thank you. Also, guys, I am going to be starting because of you, because you all have been telling me how soothing my voice is and that I should start an ASMR channel. I'm going to do that. So I haven't made any videos, but I did make the channel. So as soon as I am ready to release the beast, I'll be letting you all know about my ASMR channel, where I'll probably just kind of be talking because I don't have time to be eating in front of the camera and all of that stuff, and smacking. Not about that smacking life. So stay tuned for sure to hear, to learn more about my AMS Are You Ready channel. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm out. See you later.